What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show here on Sherdog.com. My name is Sean Sheehan. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Randy Orton's biggest fan, Nathan Kelly, as he prepares for his big fight at PFL Road to Dubai. Nathan, how are you? What's this Randy Orton stuff about? Tell us. It's all over Instagram over the last few days.
I don't know. I just seen a video online. It was like the masculine urge to hit this pose. This is Randy Orton doing his legend killer pose, and I just thought it was funny, like, because every now and then, like when I was a kid, I used to love that, and I used to think I was Randy Orton when I used to be watching wrestling. You know what I mean? And when I seen that there, I thought it was funny, so I thought I'd just start doing it for the crack.
Go on. Are you gonna throw us up a Randy Orton pose there? you have the phone in hand. Maybe you can. I knew it'd be too good to be true. I knew it'd be too good to be true.
I was like, the one time I tried to do it, I make a balls of it.
That's all right. These things happen in MMA. Just on the Randy Orton thing again. Were you a big WWE fan growing up? Do you watch it still? Is that something you kind of? I suppose a lot of people have seen you so far, and it's been the fights and in the fights. But are you going to bring a bit of the promo life to PFL over the next year?
Maybe so. Yeah, I was a big fan of WWE as a kid. I used to think I was John Cena. I used to think I was Randy Orton. There's so many wrestlers who I used to think I was. Honestly, I used to live through them, and then ultimately, when Brock Lesnar got into MMA, I kind of was intrigued to MMA, and here we are now. You know, I switched over as most people do when they get grown up. You know.
Come here. The one thing I wanted to ask someone fighting at this time of the year, I was watching the UFC a couple of weekends ago, and the UFC last weekend, and I threw out a tweet there because the cards are so good. I was like, of course they're fighting like this. I'd be the same if I missed out on Christmas dinner. Was it tough, or were you far enough away to be able to have Christmas dinner, or did you miss out on it this year?
Yeah, I missed out on it. You know, to be honest, I didn't really mind. The task at hand for me was far more important than a Christmas dinner. Now, I have a meal prep company called Fit Meals over here. They've been looking after me with meals. And on Christmas Day, they did a festive dinner. So it was like typical bit of turkey, bit of ham, few roast potatoes in it, and little bit of stuffing. So I wasn't too hard off. You know, I had a little bit of a taste of Christmas. But yeah, look, to be honest, I didn't really mind. It is what it is. It's the first time I've ever had to do anything like this over the Christmas period, and I'm fighting since I'm 17, so I'm nearly 10 years fighting now, amateur and pro. So, yeah, look, I was gonna have to do the graveyard shift, as I call it, at some points. It just so happens that it was this year, you know.
Yeah, I suppose with PFL and the way it's working out with the early card in the year and then the big tournament, maybe we'll talk about that later on. I suppose it's a lot of people are going to have to find the same thing, I suppose. Was it around in as well when the fight changes? I know you're supposed to fight Akhmed Magomedov Saturday. When did you find out about that fight changing?
Yeah, I found out about it around, I can't remember. I think it was like 5 weeks out, maybe about 5 weeks out. So yeah, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I found out. They sent me on saying he was injured, but they had this Akhmed guy like sent straight onto me like as in the next message. So like I wasn't like I was waiting around for an opponent hoping they'd pull it out of the bag. I had the reassurance that the fight I was going to be fighting. So that was a big help. You know what I mean? I wasn't left wondering and waiting. They replaced them instantly. So I was delighted with that. You know.
Yeah, it's great to be able to, I suppose, have that name instantly. Was it a big change in terms of your preparation or anything like that when you got the change in names?
Nothing too major, you know. I think Kazan is a bit more of a slicker and technical striker. He's a bit more elusive, and he has, obviously more tools in the toolbox there than Akhmed. But you know, if you actually look at Kazan's fights, he does single leg entry into the body lock and up against the fence, and quite standard every time to that. You know, I would have been expecting a wrestling heavy fight. It's going to be the same with Akhmed. He's obviously strongest in the wrestling. He's going to look to secure the takedown, take me down, and go full Dagestani on me. But nothing too different in the like switch up of the preparation. Only for the striking aspect of the fight would have been a bit different than fighting Magomedov Saturday.
when you see a guy like Ahmed, and he's undefeated until his last fight, and then he loses his last fight. I suppose, like, for someone like me, it's very easy to go and look at the last fight and go, here's the mistakes he made. Maybe, his next opponent will get those openings. But for you, it must be a bit different, because, like, you're looking like that, okay, there's the openings, but, like, he is looking at that and saying, this is where I went wrong too, and maybe those openings have been closed. Is that it's something you kind of have to factor in, I suppose, and how do you look at that overall when you're preparing for someone?
Yeah, that is exactly it. The least you can expect as a fighter and a professional athlete is that if you do lose, you address them mistakes. I saw some mistakes that he was making, but I'm putting my faith and trust in him that he's worked on fixing them. But that's the beauty of the sport, isn't it? It leaves you wondering I'm gonna solve the puzzle, how I'm gonna walk around what I see, but not delve too much into what I see. But yeah, look, I never really study tape too much anyway. I think people can get really drawn into, something happening that might not happen, and then on the night, then you freeze, or it doesn't. You're seeing something that's not happening, and then you get a bit disheartened or whatever. I just look at the tape to have an understanding of the style, where they're comfortable, where they want to be, and then I just let the beauty of reactions on the night solve it all for me. So obviously, I have a little game plan set and some tools to beat them. So it's just about on the night, are my reactions on point? Is my game plan on point? Am I sharp? And that's where everything else will take care of itself. I think just my all round fighting ability will take care of me on the night, rather than delving into mistakes that he makes. I'll capitalize on them when they're presented to me.
Watching back through some of your fights, and I was doing a preview the other day for the whole card as well, and talking about you, I think I wrote down in my notes is you're becoming an increasingly confident fighter, and obviously, your record. You look at it, was 11-2, and you lost your first two fights and won 11 in a row. So, like, I
Yeah.
suppose that's explanation enough why you've become increasingly confident. But do you sense that in your own game? Do you feel it when you're in there? Like, not that it's becoming easier, but I'm becoming more comfortable and becoming more confident while in the cage.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously winning boosts the confidence, but I think just me activity has been the key factor in me being composed and relaxed and all that jazz. I don't know. I feel like I always say this, like on the night in the cage, I feel like I always perform better. I feel like, and I always make the joke about it, like if my opponent came and sparred me in the gym, you'd probably think you'd have a handy night with me in the cage. But the minute
Yeah.
I'm under the lights, and it's where it means most, that's where I shine and that's where I perform. I just feel like that's where I'm, most natural, most comfortable. But yeah, definitely confidence has grown. I think when you're finishing lads as well, there's a certain killer instinct and ability to adjust and react in the moment that I have, and I'm able to tune into opportunity capitalization. So I think that's a big confidence booster as well, to know that when the time comes and if something presents itself, I have the IQ and ability to capitalize. But for the most part, yeah, growing in confidence each fight, and long may it last. Yeah.
Just to delve back into Ahmed again for a second, obviously watching him, you mentioned earlier on he's a very strong wrestler, but obviously in the last fight, I suppose the striking was a bit of an issue for him, and maybe the speed and the combination work as well. For yourself, we've seen, I suppose, all parts of your game over the last 13 fights, where one fight you went in there, you took a lead down, you didn't get touched, and other fights you're going in there and you're striking. First of all, on the striking, how confident are you, I suppose, that you can recreate? And I suppose we went over like the pitfalls of recreating the last fight, but like that you can expose maybe some of the weaknesses in his speed, and when you look at him fighting against someone who throws combinations, is that something you feel like you can maybe expose in his game with your style and your increasing ability on the feet as well?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a factor in, maybe me solving this puzzle on Saturday night. I put countless amount of hours into me striking game since I joined SBG. I wanted to be the most complete fighter I could be. And the beautiful side of it is that, like, you never really know what way I'm gonna fight. I can come out, strike with you, take you down, submit you, or else I can have a kickboxing fight style fight off you over 3 rounds. I wanted to be a fighter that no matter who fought me, they just thought, where can we beat this guy? But yeah, I think the striking is going to be definitely a big part to play. I think once he feels my power on Saturday night, he's going to be shooting heavily. He's going to be trying to close the distance as harshly as he can, and I think he's going to leave himself open for big shots. But for the most part, I think me striking, me volume, me combinations, and more importantly, me power is going to be the defining factor in how this fight goes on Saturday.
And the other side of it then, I suppose, like looking back over some of your fights, you're very, very, very strong in the clinch. And obviously we talked the last time about, your jiu-jitsu background, about, being the youngest ever Irish jiu-jitsu black belt. And, we've seen you submit guys obviously in the cage, and he's obviously very good in the clinch as well, and a very good chain wrestler. Is that the battle for the fight, really? Like whoever wins that battle is probably on the road to winning the fight here.
On paper, you'd look at it that way. I think, who establishes their wrestling dominance will be the victor. But like he has to. If I'm looking at his aspect of him getting into me, he has to get in to wrestle me first. He's not going to just make the entry and it goes smooth from there. And then, if he does, even if he does do that and he makes the entry and he gets inside, I've been working over here in Dubai for the last 10 weeks with John Mitchell and his coach Ozzy, and he's been teaching all this. The Russian, he's a Russian guy, funnily enough, training me to fight a Russian. But yeah, it's been a very wrestling heavy camp. I've been in loads of bad scenarios and bad positions and working out of them, and my confidence in them positions has just skyrocketed. You know what I mean? I know we were doing good positional work, putting ourselves in the worst positions we could be in, and John and Senin and Paul Buckley, they're all a lot heavier than me, and they're having a very hard time outpowering me and outstrengthening me and keeping me down. So I'm stuffing the takedowns. When they take me down, I'm straight back up to my feet, and I'm going to be a real problem for him. He's not going to be just him chain wrestling and getting his wrestling off, and it'll be that easy. And then ultimately as well, I'm confident in my wrestling against him. Like, what's to be like? I'm just as confident I'll take him down and smash him on the ground. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm going into this fight with like, I have to strike and not grapple at all. Like, I am fully confident I can outstrike him and out grapple him. So it's a beauty of the whole story of the tale of mixed martial arts. If you can do it all, you're a dangerous man, and I can do it all, and 100%. I'm not willing to shy away from any grappling exchanges.
What was the decision like? I suppose to go over to Dubai and have the camp there. Obviously, you've been with Barry Oglesby when you're younger. Obviously, just training in SBJ Ireland over the last few years. What was the decision like to go over there? I suppose for 10 weeks and prepare over there.
Yeah, so like my missus moved over here to teach English in August, so I knew I was gonna come over here anyway this year. So I actually booked me flights over here in like the September, maybe to come end of August, September to come over. And I was coming over the end of November anyway, and then like a week before or 2 weeks before I was set to leave, I got this opportunity, and I was just thinking about it. I was like, what will I do? Will I stay at home or will I go over? And I just said, fuck it, I'll go over, I'll acclimatise to Dubai, I'll get comfortable over there, I'll feel like it's my home and feel like I feel like it's becoming like a very natural environment for me to be in and all that jazz. And then ultimately then I'll be working with John and Ozzy and Senin and the Russian coach Ozzy is very good. He has really, really good details, and I just, like I said, I felt like who's best to try prepare you for a Russian than a Russian coach, and yeah. He's been kind of instilling in us some good fundamental principles in regards to our grappling and our MMA overall MMA game. And yeah, it felt like it made sense. John and Ozzy have been in contact as well, back and forth, talking about me training. So it's not like me coaches at home have been out of the loop. We've all been in contact. I've been letting them know how I'm getting on. Ozzy's been letting them know how I've been getting on. So I just said, fuck it, why not? First time living away from home as well, from my family home. So it was a nice little step into the adult life, we'll say. When you, for example, if you're going to college for the first time, the freedom you feel, I kind of feel that freedom now, fucking 27 years old. But it just felt like the right thing to do, and I just went with me gut, and yeah, I'm happy I did it now.
Mm. I went down to college in Cork as well, so I got what you're like, been over there with John Mitchell for a while anyway, so it's the same thing.
The Cork Horse Box.
Oh, legend, what about here? And I saw you put up that picture as well of the two of you together, and obviously you had fought on, was it a Cage Legacy card as well before? It's cool to kind of see, I suppose, the next generation of Irish MMA fighters coming up and now being together on these big cards. It must be fun for you to be on the same card as him again.
Yeah, that's cool. Like I know John since I'm very young. You know, Barry and Liam Beach are obviously good friends from down in Cork. Liam from down in Cork, so they used to come up to us, or we'd go down to them, and then vice versa. And then I got a good relationship with Aaron and Jack McGuire, and so I go down and spar them every now and then, and they come up to us and spar us every now and then MMA, and just built a good relationship. And then obviously John had ties to DCA as well. So we were always kind of around each other. We were always fighting on the same cards and stuff like that. So it's kind of surreal to see. We're around the game a long way, and fast forward 10 odd years, and we're sharing a card now together in Dubai of all places, and kind of leading the charge for Irish MMA on this international stage. So yeah, it's a nice, kind of fulfilling kind of feeling, if you get me. Like,
yeah, 100%. You spoke about having the Russian trainer there. This card has kind of been billed as Ireland versus Dagestan. Have you got caught up on any of that yet? There's been any bit of back and forth with you on that?
Yeah, they've been selling it to us, the whole Ireland versus Dagestan. How do we feel? Blah blah blah. Fucking, it is what it is, isn't it? Like I always just say, they're like asking, is it a real rivalry and stuff like that? I was just saying, like, I think since the Conor and Khabib thing, there just has been a natural rivalry with Ireland and Russia. They don't like us, and I explained then as well. Some of the stories Kieran Clark was telling me about the IMAFs in Bahrain and wherever they were, and the Irish and the Russian team happened to be separated by the armed support over there, and like all of that adds to the story, and this whole thing of Khabib saying this and that about the Irish fighters, and we're no good, and Dagestanis are better, and blah blah blah. It's added a lot of good hype to it. It's lit a fire. Not that I need to be motivated, but it's lit a good fire in my belly, and it's made me want to show, like, right, you're gonna see on Saturday night. But for the most part, like, to be honest, I don't really give up eyes about the whole thing. Like, I find it hard to like be phased by things like that. But ultimately, it is a nice storyline. It's a nice sell, and it's gonna be a nice feeling beating the Dagestani now on Saturday.
100%. I have two more questions here that I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
One is a statement, and then I'll follow it with a question. I feel like if there was an award for the person who had the best knockout and submission of the year, you would have won it last year, because you won the best knockouts of the year, one of the best submissions of the year. And so the question to add to that is elbows now in PFL for the first time in this card. How much are you looking forward to being able to throw elbows? I know you have many times before in cards as well, but to be free now in PFL to do it, how good must that feel?
Yeah, it's nice. It's a big part of the game. It's like, it's I don't know, like, to be fighting with PFL for so long and not being able to throw them. It was kind of hindering, because especially if you're anyway decent at grappling, top position, elbows are a staple of ground and pound. But yeah, ultimately it's a big part of the game. For it not to be a part of the fight was a bit much. I know they were trying to preserve cuts and blah 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 with the season, but this is MMA. This is what fans want to see. This is what we want to do. This is the strikes we want to be thrown. So it's only fair that they give us it. They have. And now it's going to be fun to not have to hold back on Saturday. Yeah.
100%. And the last thing, and not to look past, I suppose, Saturday, but the PFL just announced there the other day about the new format for this upcoming season, and they put out a video, and you were all over that video. You were probably the main fighter on that video. Have you been told anything? Do you think you're going to be in the season this year? Do you want to be in the season this year? What do you think this year is going to look for? How's it going to look for you after this fight, I suppose?
Yeah, I think it looks like I'm gonna be in it. According to the guys here, they've been. I've only found out fucking yesterday, or today. Was it today? Today. One of the lads is like, I just want to get a quick video of you, and he's like, oh, you're in the season. I just want you to get you're in the tournament. I want you to get like a little thing saying. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, you're in the tournament supposedly. Anyway, that's what I was told. And I was like, all right. So I was like, fucking right. That's my news broken. And then I done some more filming then, and they were talking to me. He's like, you're going to be in the tournament. You've been here for 3 years working with PFL. How does it feel? So, you know, looks like I'm going to be in the tournament come April. So it's exciting. Put this lad away and, you know, fucking, if all goes well, win me 3 fights. I'll have 4 fights in 8 months and hopefully be a few 100,000 richer, you know. So that has been my goal since I came to the promotion initially anyway, to get into the tournament and try and make me mark. And now I'm grateful, fingers crossed, that I have this opportunity set for April. So get this fight done and over with, enjoy myself for a week or two, and straight back into training for the next event if that's the case, you know.
Nathan, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I know it's a busy fight week, and I feel like this isn't the last time we'll talk this year, because it feels like it's going to be a busy year ahead for you. Best of luck on Saturday night, and thanks again for the time.
Thanks again, Sean. You're a legend. Appreciate that.
So, man.